And what's cracking, you guys? Welcome to the Mango Grove. How is everyone doing? What's up? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. How's the weekend? Sean and I just got back from a dinner. A lunch, actually, not dinner, a lunch. It was very nice. It's a nice, relaxed Sunday, right? Let's see who we got in here. How's it going, Dan? Sean is in here as well. Maybe next live stream, Sean can join me. So we're going to be going over some charts today. Well, because we have a monthly open. Happy month of November to each and every one of you. And also we're getting into the next week, which also entails a new weekly open. So there is much to sort of dissect today. How's it going, Stanton? By the way, Stanton, I want to thank you for standing up for me on the XRP video. I got a lot of flack on the previous XRP update, which was kind of funny because I was not even all that bearish. I'm just, posing the different scenarios that could play out. How's it going, Vishal? It's good to see you. 2 back-to-back streams. What's going on, man? But good to see you in here. Vishal's been here for a very long time. He's been a long-term Mongolian. Mrs. Scratch Happy, hello. 9:21 a.m. in Florida. Very nice. It's November. The weather there must be, I'm guessing the weather in Florida must be constant, right? Throughout the year. How's it going, Julian? Okay, let me actually just get into... I really need to get that intro up. I miss it. It's a feel-good effect. I keep saying I'm going to post it next. I'm going to sort of upload it on this new application that I'm using. But I'm not getting around to it. Next time. Okay, we're going to wait for a couple more people to join in, and then we'll dive right into the charts. Like I said, much to dissect in front of us. I'm just going to go over the chat for now. And do I have the dashboard up? I do have the dashboard up. Okay, brilliant. What do we have here? Market-wide trend is neutral. I think we can all agree that it is currently neutral. Volatility at 51. Before I begin and before I dive into the analysis, I want to get a audio check. So can you guys give me a thumbs up if the audio is a-okay, or do I need to change anything? I clearly need to get the comments on the screen, and there it is. Okay, brilliant. Let's get a lighting check. Is the lighting okay? I think lighting's fine. Is the pink annoying? I can change that. Make it a blue. Neutral. Okie dokes. Okay, so all right, audio is good. More key light. Let's face it, the only thing that matters right now is the chart. The lighting can wait. Okay, in 3, 2, I'm gonna go ahead and change this. Oh, I'm a little too tiny there. What do I have here? Oh, good enough. Okay, let's dive right into the analysis right now. I want to go over the monthly open, the month of November. We have a brand new print on that, and I also want to go over the weekly, how this week is looking, because we open a brand new weekly candle tomorrow, and I believe that these closes that come in on the weekly time frame are going to be important in that it's going to help us understand what's the next probable move in terms of the next short-term move, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead. Okay, cool. Let's actually begin with, so first of all, Mango dashboard, market-wide trend currently neutral, volatility hovering at 51. And I think we can all agree that the market is currently, it's at this point where it's on the fence, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I believe it's on the fence here. Okay, but for now, Bitcoin on the dashboard, we're looking at the long trend on the 4-hour time frame. So that just flipped long 1 hour ago. However, 12-hour to the 2-day time frame all short signals. But you guys know the one barometer that we've been looking at to help us with Bitcoin's trend, especially in that short term, is the 12-hour time frame. Okay, that trend is going to dictate who's got the edge. At least I've noticed like the probability of the 12-hour trend playing out is actually pretty freaking high. So 12 hours still short. All right. Now, as far as Bitcoin on the monthly is concerned, I'm not surprised with this month closed, okay? Because, well, we've been looking on the monthly time frame specifically, we've been looking at that one cyclical indicator, which is none other than the monthly 10 simple moving average. What I like about this picture currently is that we're still over the monthly 10. All right. And this has been a very, very, very important level because you need to understand that through the cycles now, I've just zoomed out for you. And this is something that you guys can do on your charts as well. Go ahead onto your monthly time frame on Bitcoin and turn on your monthly 10 simple moving average. You're going to find that every time through the cycles, every time Bitcoin has lost that monthly 10 simple moving average, that has marked bear market territory. Okay, every single time, I kid you not. We had one right here. This was September 2011. The next cycle, the next bull market was 2014. In 2014, we topped out, but the monthly 10 was only lost in May of 2014. That too marked bear market territory. All right. Then fast forward to the next bull market of 2018. Once again, we lost the monthly 10 simple moving average. We had one violation on there until we lost it in earnest, and that too marked bear market territory. Even the COVID phase, guys, that COVID phase was a risk event for the market. All right, that was a very short-lived, there was this one mini cycle. I'm going to call this the mini cycle right here. That mini cycle was short-lived, but what marked the end of that mini cycle was the loss of the monthly 10, also alluding to us that, hey, something's off. Okay, these are signals that you want to take very, very seriously when you do get them. So even right here, we had one violation until we lost in earnest, and that marked bear market territory, where we then went into that whole risk event where prices dumped till Bitcoin dropped all the way down to 3K on that risk event. Now, fast forward to the bull market of 2020 once again. And the thing is that what I really like about the monthly 10 signal is that it works both ways. It helps mark the bear market, but also helps mark the initiation of the bull market. Okay, so even in 2020, it was only when we reclaimed it, bull market, great stuff. But it's only when we lost it. Now, notice in that 2020 bull run, guys, we had a double top there. Okay, well, many of the markets out there went to see higher highs. Bitcoin actually did end up putting a double top, but we only lost the monthly 10 on that second top, right? When we started drawing down, when we put in the second top right here, this was back in November of 2021. So once again, that was a loss of the monthly 10, and that marked bear market territory for Bitcoin. Now, fast forward this cycle, and this is what I mean, right? We're still in a bull run. That's the craziest part. We're still in a bull run. If we're just following the TA, and if there's any suggestion I would give you guys right now, is follow the TA. There's a lot of noise out there. You know, there's a lot of FA. There's a lot of macro stuff you're gonna hear, but as Sean always says, the arbitrator of all debate is ultimately always going to be price action. Okay, so do not fade price action. Right? Right now, what price is telling us relative to the monthly 10 SMA, we're still in safe zone. All right, this bull market is still intact. All right, monthly 10 currently coming in right here at around $102,000. Let me go ahead and get the actual number for you guys. $103,000. What I like about this, if you really consider it, right, is think of how amazingly healthy this cycle is, if amazingly is even a word. But this is a very, very healthy cycle we've had so far. All right. Even in terms of, let's just say, you know, for the purpose of this video right here, let's just say that prices even break the monthly 10 simple moving average. Think of what that means. It means that we find out that Bitcoin is in a bear market at that six-figure mark even still. Bitcoin is still at $100,000. Okay. And we also find out that we're in a bear market. I mean, from where price is at right now to the loss of the monthly 10, I mean, price has to drop greater than 6%, which, let's face it, guys, if I find out that I need to get out with just a 6% loss, that's really healthy. I give very, very little back to the market, okay, before finding out that, hey, this is bear market territory, versus the other cycles where you need to understand that Bitcoin from the top, okay, let's just take it from the top to The loss of the monthly 10, that was like a 26%. You had to give back 26% of your profits before you found out that, hey, bear market territory, right? Even the COVID phase right here, you had to give back. And I'm being like modest. Okay, let's even be modest with this. 30%. Giving back 30% to the market to figure out that, hey, you're wrong on the whole thesis of it's still being a bull market. Fast forward to the previous cycle too. This was crazy, right? Because Bitcoin had pumped all the way up to $20,000. And let's even be a bit modest here too. You had to give back 60% before you found out that, hey, that was bear market territory, right? So here we get to find out relatively quickly. Like, so in terms of price at equilibrium, like, I think it's a very, very healthy cycle that we've had so far, right? Even figuring out that, hey, we're officially in bear market territory, you're giving back very little, right? So even if you want to take out profits from the market, say if you've been riding Bitcoin with us for a very, very long time, because understand this, Sean had presented the Bitcoin trade right here. Like, this is all over his Twitter. If you guys are not following him on Twitter, what are you doing? Follow him. His handle is Sean Dexta, but he's been posting some amazing charts, and he caught Bitcoin right here, and he announced it on the Discord chat, on the Seed Mastermind calls. At that point, it was a very small group, but also on Twitter, right? He posted an entire setup. So he literally has an arrow on there saying, buy here. Right? So you guys who've been with Mango for a very long time, you should have been riding this entire Bitcoin trend with us. And let's face it, from where we actually took back that monthly 10 to our price is currently at, that's still a good 406%. Even on the loss of the monthly 10, you should still be up a good 372% on the entire Bitcoin trade. All right, so this was an amazing, amazing trend that we've had so far. But let's stick to the topic here. I'm going up on a tangent. As far as this is concerned, we're still within that bull run phase. Okay, it's still within the bull market territory. Now, there was another cyclical indicator that I did not bring up to your attention. Once again, this is a system that Sean had presented, and I did a bit of a back test on it. And I was surprised as to how well this did in actually catching the turns of the market, right? Where we go from a bull market to a bear market. And that was none other than Bitcoin versus gold. Now, we all know how well gold has been doing. Gold has been doing exceptionally well, right? I mean, it's the asset of the year. Everyone's talking about gold. People are lining up to buy gold. In fact, I found a post, I think it was on Reddit, or anyways, it was on some blog. Someone was looking to sell their home to buy gold, right? So he's like, I have $250,000 in equity, thinking of selling my home to buy gold. What do you guys think? Is this the best move? Is this a good move? Yada, yada, yada. And I found that quite intriguing, right? So you can see how it's become one of those, the big trades of the year, where everyone is just looking to jump right onto that train, right? So Bitcoin versus gold here. Now, when Sean brought this up, now this is before the whole gold mania really came into full swing. Sean brought this up to everyone's attention. I think particularly, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, was it the Seed? I think you started off with the Seed Clubhouse, and then you presented it on, was it the Mango Dashboard premium videos, or was it the live stream? I'm not sure. But in one of the videos, he had brought this up. And anyways, recently, I pulled it up once again to just, figure out where are we relative to these levels. And I did a bit of a back test as well. Now you can see the back test on my chart already. But Bitcoin versus gold. Every time we break the monthly dynamic support, that has marked bear market territory for Bitcoin. And it's been pretty freaking amazing so far. Okay, so 2014 right here. All right, we broke the monthly dynamic, propelled into bear market territory. Bitcoin was propelled into bear market territory. Right, fast forward next cycle as well. Once again, broke that monthly level, monthly dynamic. And this right here, by the way, was when Bitcoin fell from $6,000 to $3,000. All right, that was that break. Right, telling you that, hey, something volatility is about to pick up, but it's going to pick up to the downside. All right, so we had that break right here. Fast forward to COVID as well. Once again, it was the same marker. Okay, loss of the monthly 10, Bitcoin propelled into bear market territory. Once again, right here, this was and notice this is Bitcoin against gold. All right, break of the monthly dynamic right here as well. Monthly dynamic supports propelled into bear market territory, right? Now, yes, there were a lot of events, but think about it. If I ask you to pick out and pinpoint the event that took place at that point in time, and if you guys remember, there were a lot of crazy unwindings that took place based on the 3AC unwinding. There was BlockFi as well. There was FTX, of course, that happened somewhere here, right? There was a bunch of stuff that just, bunch of liquidations that just got tapped into throughout the entire cascade down, right? But once again, I'm not even going to point out what happened, when it happened, where it happened on the chart. This is just pure TA, all right? TA is going to help you stay on the right side of these trends ultimately. Right? There are always going to be risk events in every single bull market. But in hindsight, if I really had to ask you guys to go back and tell me what happened, when it happened, where it happened, you're not going to be able to pick it out on the chart. All right. So focus on price action. Figure out what is price doing relative to those key levels. Now, fast forward to this cycle. This is something that Sean has been keeping track of. And well, after going through the data points and going through the loss of this system, I was sort of, man, I woke up November 1st. I'm like, how did that candle close? All right. And it's an ungodly hour when the candle opens on the monthly time, on a daily basis. But anyways, I woke up to just, figure out where this closed. And well, we closed within the monthly dynamic support. Okay. So as far as, hey, is this sufficient enough? Will this suffice? I think so, yes. But I'm also going to say one thing. While we did close within the monthly, now, I don't know, Sean might agree, might not agree. At times, we're on opposite sides of a trade. We have different views on the market. But I'll say this. While we are safe on the monthly close on this particular system, I want to see in the next couple of weeks. Okay, I'm not even going to wait for the freaking month. In the next couple of weeks, I want to see this close. Even if, hell, we're getting to the next week, I say next week. I want to see this close over the monthly dynamic at 28. All right, so basically, if this is the monthly time frame, if I switch on over to the weekly time frame, I want to see price start closing over this level. I think that's going to be a very, very, very important positioning for this chart. Okay, because there's something else that I caught. Let me go ahead and turn that on. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't want to confuse you, so I'll just leave it at this. Basically, in the next 1 week, I want to see price this chart here, Bitcoin against gold, close over that 28 mark. Okay, right here, top of the monthly dynamic. If we can do that, I'm saying that okay, Bitcoin still has a fighting chance getting into the next month, into this month as well as the month of December. All right, because if we start getting rejected off of there on the weekly time frame, on the daily time frame, I'm going to be looking at that as a bearish tilt, even on this pairing. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. Of course, we're going to be monitoring this on the Discord chat and even on the daily videos. If you're not already subbed to the channel, make sure you hit the sub. And well, if you're not in the Discord chat, join the Discord because I have been posting this chart. Yeah, you'll find a link to it in the description below. Avi says he's leaning bullish. I am too. I mean, I cannot possibly go against the systems here, right? We've been presenting them for a very, very long time, presenting them to such a point where I risk sounding like a broken record on every single freaking daily update. Like, even to me, I get a bit self-conscious there, right? I'm just like, shit, man. I'm like, they must be so bored listening to me because I'm literally coming out here every single day and giving you guys the same systems. But oftentimes I find that I remember when I first started trading, I found a lot of comfort in Sean basically telling me the same thing. He's like, no, this is good. It sort of gives me that reassurance that my idea of the market, my hypothesis of the market at any given point in time is in fact correct in a way. Or there's confluence in just an analysis. So I remember feeling comforted with that. So I figured that, hey, there might be other people out there too in the same sort of shoes as I once was in. So yeah, I hope that you guys like me bringing up the same systems over and over. But yeah, this is what I'm looking at for Bitcoin versus gold. I still think, okay, yeah, we're in safe zone, but like I said, I want to start seeing some strength. But of course, that strength is first gonna. Now, how do you see strength on Bitcoin versus gold? Well, there could be two ideas of strength here. Either Bitcoin goes up more significantly than gold in the next 1 week. So basically, we start seeing a stronger rally on Bitcoin than we see on gold. So that's one way in which this can go up. The second way in which this can go up is that if gold drops harder than Bitcoin in this current juncture of the market. We'll be going over gold's chart as we go through this live. But yeah, that's the two ways in which this can go up. But either way, I don't care how this plays out. What I want to see here is Bitcoin hold its cyclical levels while this pairing starts closing over that monthly dynamic. If we can do that, I think Bitcoin has a fighting chance getting to the rest of this month as well as next month. Oh yeah, guys, please do hit the likes. It goes a very, very, very long way for the channel. More than you know. How's it going, Bean? Bean's in here? I don't see Bean. How's it going, Bobo Baggins? Thank you so much. Bobo Baggins has been an absolute star in the comments section, guys. Like, he's been really getting out there and supporting me. Like, I really, really appreciate it. More than you know. Thank you so much. I'm reading all of your comments, by the way. So especially during this period where it's a bit of a precarious period where people are feeling a bit down. And irrespective of me presenting the same systems over and over, when I give them, it's always an if this, then that, right? I give you guys the levels, I give you guys the systems. That way you guys know that when the system breaks, the trade is over, right? There are no excuses that you make here. You got to know how to lose well. To lose well, you should be able to even have a system, and a system is good in terms of quantifying your trading strategies. Because if you don't have a system, you don't have a strategy, there's no way to quantify anything. It's as good as just shooting darts in the dark, okay, with the blindfold on. You don't want to do that. So I present systems, I present targets, but I also give you guys the invalidations. I don't want you guys to just cherry pick the information. All right, don't cherry pick the information, because believe me when I say, if the system is lost, I'm getting out of the trade. Period. If I'm looking at this as a trend trade or even a quick swing trade, but the system is lost, I'm out. I give it to you so that you might know that, hey, Krisha's getting out here. All right, there are a lot of people who tell you to get into trades, but very few people are going to come out and tell you, hey, it's time to get out. All right, that's why you see a lot of market participants lose money, because they're all looking for calls. They're all listening out for that call. They get the call, they get in, but no one really tells them, hey, listen, man, the trade is done. Okay, now I get it, because people hate hearing that. Right? People always come here looking for certainties. There are no certainties in this world of trading, but they come here for that certain win. They want a 100% probability on that, hey, that winning trade. And when you tell them that, hey, this might be a trade that you want to cut, they don't want to hear it. It's the wildest thing. If you're getting to the world of trading, you gotta be okay also losing. Okay, you're gonna have some losers, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. As long as you know how to lose well, you're going to be a-okay. And let's face it, the biggest part of being a profitable trader is knowing how to lose well. Okay, because your gains, guys, you have no control over your gains. None, zero, none. Okay, you have no control of what asset you're holding goes up, when it goes up, how much it goes up by. No control over that. Right? But what you do have control over at all times are your losses. So freaking learn to control those. All right, so we went over Bitcoin on the monthly 10 SMA. We went over Bitcoin versus gold. Now, here's why I also want you guys to have your eyes on both ends of the trade here, okay? The bullish side, of course, which is price holding all levels, all systems, great stuff. For as long as we're doing that, the cycle is intact. Looking out for strength, of course, getting to this month of November. Seasonality-wise, I know Sean is just like, he's like, screw seasonality, which is, he's right, okay? Because these are all fractals. You don't ever want to make your trading decisions based on just fractals. Ultimately, it's the present day price action that's going to guide you the best. But I also want you guys to be very cognizant of the flip side of the trade, which is the bearish angle, which is basically price breaking that monthly 10 simple moving average, which would be price breaking the biweekly dynamic support. Now, we only have another biweekly print next week, but even right now, price relative to the biweekly dynamic, we're still holding, right? So bull market's still on. For as long as Bitcoin is holding its bull run signals and bull run systems, bull run is still on. Make no mistake. I'm not switching my tune on Bitcoin for as long as we're holding these levels. All right. But like I said, I want you guys to be a bit prudent and understand that, hey, there could be a flip side. There could be a potential reversal, okay, owing to, once again, there is quarterly seasonality that I've been going over, but there's also this, which is market turns relative to halvings. Now, if I really have to weigh, price against its cyclicals versus something like this system, which is basically looking at past price action, basically past fractals, price at the halving. Let me phrase this properly. The duration between the halving, the previous halving, and when the market turns. Okay, that's a fractal. All right. If I really have to put like a weighting to it, what's more important? Price relative to your systems is going to be way more important than even this system right here. Okay, but this is something that I figured that, hey, this is interesting, so I'm going to present it to you guys, which is why I'm saying this is where prudence would matter, but only when you get the signals. Okay, so always wait on your confirmations. But the observation over here is the duration between the previous halving, the most recent halving, and when the market turns. There's a bit of symmetry across the cycles. In 2012, it's only price turns. So basically, price took about a year, 365 days before we got into bear market territory. Okay, so the halving happened in November 2012, and then October 2013. So exactly 365 days later, we saw a turn in the market. Okay, we went into bull market from a bull market to a bear market. All right. Then the next halving of 2016, exactly 518 days later from the halving, did the market turn, okay, into bear market. Okay, that was bear market territory. Then the next halving of 2020, exactly once again, the same thing, 518 days later did we get a bearish turn, okay, bear market territory, right? Now this halving that happened last year, 2024, April 2024. From that halving to where price is currently at, we're already at the 518-day mark. Okay, we're already at the 518-day mark. Right? Do we see a turn here? Maybe. Do we have the signal for a turn here? No, we don't. Okay. But I thought that this was a pretty interesting fractal that I did not want to just dismiss. So I figured I'd bring it up to your attention. But yeah, this is something to sort of, it's not something you act on, but you should be aware of it. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Something you should be aware of. Someone said something about a bearish Q4. Okay, I'm just going through the comments. I'd consider a dash-like move as a God candle. Yes. This cycle, we never got any God candles on Bitcoin. Vishal says it's been a bit boring lately. It's been a bit boring, like throughout the entire cycle. Let's face it. It's like, I feel like Bitcoin has been, this cycle at the very least, has been a bull market, but a very boring bull market. And it's that boredom phase that really gets people complacent, and it gets people worried, and it gets them knocked out of their positions. And I feel like it's on both ends of the trade, right? On the long end as well as the short end. Like even through the consolidations, like let's be honest, okay, guys? Let's just say, for the sake of this scenario, let's just say that all of you guys were just bearish, okay? You were bearish right here on this consolidation, you were bearish on this consolidation right here. And consider that you're bearish as a bear, okay? You've gone short here, okay? Now price is sitting here, you're like, oh, okay, sitting well in profit. But then you start seeing price stutter, right? It rallies once again in your face, and it comes back down. You're like, oh shit. Is this the move? Is this the final capitulation move? Does it go down even further? But now you're nervous because of the previous rally that took place. You're a bit nervous even as a bear, right? Only for that candle, for that drawdown to see another pickup and then rally once more. And then you're like, oh shit, I missed my take profit. Now prices come down once again, right? At this point, you're like, just get rid of the short. Like even as a bear, I feel like this cycle hasn't been forgiving to the bulls, but I don't think it's been forgiving to the bears either. It's gotten the bears very, even on the drawdowns, it's gotten them nervous. Right, so it's also about always putting yourself in the other person's shoes, on the other side of the trade, and trying to figure out, how do you think they might be perceiving this move? Are they nervous? Are they confident? What's going on there? Because that's going to give you a bit more insight. If you were a bear, how would you be feeling at any given point during these consolidations? The boredom, I believe, has been driven primarily through the 6-month consolidations. I mean, think about it, man. Like, we go through 6-month consolidations, prices rally, right? But they don't even rally. They inch up. It's just like a tick up, tick up, tick up. And then one fine week, you're going to get a candle like this, okay? A good 16%, 17% on the candle. But here's the thing. You're either in on that trade or you're not. It doesn't give you an opportunity to get in. So it's either you're in or you're not. And say that 16% move happens, but then what's the mindset of people who are sitting on the sidelines? They're like, oh shit, it rallied 60%. Now all eyes on Bitcoin. But now they're wondering, should they be waiting on a pullback? Can they get a pullback back into support, back into that breakout point, and then prices rally once again? Can I score a better bid? So now they're waiting once again, only for the next candle to also be a green candle. All right, so that rallies again. You're like, oh shit, I should just bought it on the close. That was a strong candle. I should just bought on the close, and man, I would have been sitting pretty. But now the next candle too, once again, prices pump, and now they want no more. They cannot endure any more of sitting on the sidelines and watching Bitcoin pumped when they waited 6 months on the consolidation. Right, so what happens then? Well, they end up buying the freaking top of the next rally. And then prices pull back once again. But during this phase right here, they're sitting in a 6-month consolidation. Right? So there are like all these things playing out. But yeah, I don't think this market has been forgiving to the bulls. I don't think it's been forgiving to the bears, primarily owing to these 6-month long consolidations. You're like, where do we stand here, right? And here's another point to be to note. I think a lot of analysts have pointed out this rising wedge. What I don't like, I'll tell you why I don't like this. First of all, I don't like diagonals just generally. I feel like they're too subjective. But why I don't like this entire structure based on, and see, notice, I just employed a bias on this chart just now. Did you notice that? Did you notice how I drew out the diagonal? Did you notice how I drew out the diagonal? Okay, let's just be completely unbiased with this, all right? Let's be completely unbiased. I'm going to take it from this one point right here to the next point right here and drag it through. All right, now through a textbook standpoint, this is a bearish pattern. Okay, a rising channel. Okay, some people are drawing it as a rising wedge. I'm just connecting the dots, and I see a rising channel. Rising channel is a bearish pattern. When does it get bearish? On the break of the pattern. Okay, here's why I don't like this pattern. Here's not that I don't like this pattern. Here's why I think this pattern right now, this one particularly on Bitcoin's chart, is bearish. Okay, it's because of this peak right here. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like the fact that Bitcoin rallied and it just lost all its momentum. Like it looked exhausted getting up there. It's a very exhaustive move. Like it got exhausted before it even hit the top. I don't like that. I think that this is a weak rally. I think this is such a weak freaking rally. Now, like I said, this is just the structure that I'm seeing in front of me. I could be wrong on this. Okay. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I mean, prices can rally from here. That's freaking amazing. I'm still sitting in Bitcoin. That's good for me. But just through a technical standpoint, I don't like the fact that it lost momentum so early on the run, that we couldn't even get up to, say, 130, 137. If we could have even gotten up to 130, I would have been like, okay, this is not a bad run, right? But no, we didn't get up there. It looks kind of exhaustive. Nikram Byrne says, let's keep making dollars. I agree. I say here's how you look at this, right? All you guys gotta look for, okay, as traders, is don't go in with a bias, like a directional bias. Look for volatility. That's your only goal right here. Look for volatility, because volatility is the lifeblood of these markets. You can make money to the upside, yes, but you can also make money to the downside. All right, so what your interest should be, especially if you're trading and not a hodler, okay, what you should be interested in is volatility ultimately. All right, so there are a lot of good trade setups to the downside right now. So those are trades that you can start paying attention to. All right, so Bitcoin monthly, we've gone over. Bitcoin bi-weekly, we've gone over. Bitcoin against gold, we've gone over. Let's go over total too. I was really hoping that this would be good. Oh. But no, it wasn't. Total 2, unfortunately, guys, we closed under. Okay, total 2, if you guys remember, was our all-season signal. We were looking at a recipe of sorts. We were looking at Bitcoin dominance. Okay, let's go ahead and just bring up Bitcoin dominance here briefly. Okay. Oh man, Bitcoin dominance is freaking moving up. We're looking at Bitcoin dominance on the weekly time frame. Okay, specifically maintaining the downtrend. We want to see Bitcoin in a downtrend while the market is still bullish. So basically, Bitcoin's still holding all of its bull run indicators, telling us that, hey, we're still in a bull market. Bitcoin dominance being in a downtrend while we have that. Okay, what does that mean? It means that, hey, the altcoins are picking up more steam than Bitcoin. And often when that happens, that signals alt season. Okay, so we're looking for this to be in a downtrend. Now, this is not... I mean, through a bird's eye view, we've still lost the weekly dynamic support. We're living underneath it. Could the downtrend continue from here? Absolutely. Okay, we could get rejected right here. Downtrend continues. But now this was one part of the recipe. The second part of the recipe was total 2. Total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. Historically, every time Bitcoin dominance has been in a downtrend and total 2 has taken out its previous all-time high, so basically cleared out its previous all-time high, that has often marked altcoin season for the altcoin market. So we had it once right here in Jan of 2016. We had it once right here in Jan of 2021, okay, which was the previous bull market. And right now, too, in the month of August, we actually closed over, reclaiming it for the first time since the cycle began in Jan of 2023. Okay, that was the first time. In August of 2025 was the first time we actually got the signal. All right. But now through this entire consolidation here, this 3 months of consolidation, I was looking for the price here, this index to close over that point that it took out, that region of resistance that it claimed as support. Now we finally lost it once again, and this candle closed under instead. All right, so I'm looking at this as an invalidation now officially. All right, so that's something to watch out for. I can't really say official invalidation, but let's just say the month of November also closes underneath this. I'm saying proper invalidation on the system. So which means altcoin season is canceled for now. Cardano Universe says, absolutely, we're being played. Is it over? I don't think it's like I said. I mean, you guys need to understand the bull market, the crypto bull market is hinged off of Bitcoin. Okay, if Bitcoin is still in a bull run, we're in a bull run. Okay, can the altcoins recover from here? Sure, they can. Do you just play the altcoins based on what Bitcoin is doing? No, because the altcoins have their own systems as well. Systems that can get you in on the right trades at the right time, right? The worst thing to do is be in a market, be in a sector where your bag, number one, either ends up being opportunity cost, or even worse, ends up losing money. No. Okay. You don't want either. So while Bitcoin is still in a bull run, while the altcoins can still recover based on the fact that crypto is still within the bull run parameters, you want to keep that, of course, in your purview, okay, as, hey, that could still be a possible outcome that prices do recover, but you don't want to lose money still. So still play it smart. So if, say, for instance, what I'm trying to say here is that if your altcoins are losing its cyclical supports, that has been doing it really, that has an amazing hit rate through the cycles, you don't want to just fade that. Okay, still follow your systems, right? But keep one eye out on your altcoins, because in case it recovers, you know that, okay, something different is happening on this chart. We could start getting into a risk-on environment for the altcoins. All right, but for now, let's just say this system on the altcoins, which is total 2, not looking good here. We closed under. I was hoping that we get that support, but it didn't come in on time. And of course, getting to the end of November, I'll still be having one eye on this chart to see where it closes. But for now, this is not looking too good. Okay. So that is total 2 for you. Total 2. We climb a wall of worry. Nick Ramburn says we climb a wall of fear from here for the next leg. I honestly, let's face it. I mean, through the entire market, we've been climbing a wall of worry, even Bitcoin for that matter. Like, all of this was one big wall of worry that we climbed. It was not that we had the most bullish outlook on the fundamental side. Right? We didn't. Like, even in terms of liquidity, we did not have the most bullish outlook. This was all of Bitcoin climbing a wall of worry. Even the altcoins that did do well, the few that did do well, even those altcoins climbed a massive wall of worry. Okay, we climbed a wall of worry that also included some really high interest rates. And this is one thing, right? When the risk-free rate over the years since 2023 has been so high, what really incentivizes people to go out the risk curve and be like, yeah, let me jump into altcoins, when they're getting like 6% in yields just sitting on their money and doing nothing? Like, literally, savings accounts. 2023, 2024, when we had these crazy high interest rates, 4%, 5% minimum you were getting on your savings. If they're getting that, doing nothing, just sitting there on their money, no one's really incentivized to go out the risk curve and invest it into altcoins that might even end up losing money, right? It was during the ZERP era that people were like, shit, there's inflation, I'm getting no yield on my capital. And so in that environment, people are going to be a lot more inclined to go out the risk curve to look for that yield. They tend to get into much more riskier assets, going far out into the altcoins, right? That's what we saw during 2021, where interest rates dropped to nothing, right? But this time around, the entire environment around us was not conducive to the super duper risk on, because understand that this is a risk curve, right? You have your fixed income on, let's just say, right here. Okay. You have your equities somewhere here. Okay. Then you got first, of course, you have the indices right here. Let's just say right here, equities right here. This would be Bitcoin. Let's just color that orange. Okay. This would be Bitcoin right here. And your altcoins, which, let's face it, okay, much of it is just vaporware. If I'm telling you that, hey, you can get like 6% just on your savings doing nothing, are you going to be incentivized to go all the way out here? No. So yes, while there was capital sort of flowing around, I don't think it was akin to what we had in 2021 or 2017, right? So, which is what I mean by we never really had the environment do we have it right now? I mean, we're seeing interest rates drop. Fed announced that QT ends December 1st. All of that is going to be priced in by December 1st. So I'm expecting that. But we don't have the environment just yet. Has ETH really broken out? And now think about the whole gold trade, right? Nick Ramburn says traders, especially macro, have gotten return on gold and the AI trades. Now, think of what they just got. They're going to fall victim to recency bias, right? So even if the new liquidity comes in, retail liquidity, they're not looking at altcoins. They're looking at the shiny objects, quite literally, gold and AI and much of TradFi. TradFi is doing excellent. Ryan Mays says, I know this is no way to trade, but I have to remain a little skeptical when everyone is looking at the TA and feeling so certain BTC will dip below 100K. There's a part of me that agrees with you, and I find that a lot of people are swinging to one side of a thesis and a hypothesis. I tend to look towards, okay, are they jumping the gun? Now, if they are jumping the gun, then I would be a bit more critical of that. However, if they're not, right, that's when I'll be like, okay, maybe there might be merit to it, because ultimately, when it comes to like the markets, it's the general consensus that wins out, because they tend to assert their decisions. They tend to project their trade hypothesis on the chart, right? They will act on it, and that act alone, in cohesion, can drive price. So if it starts losing levels, then yes, I'll be like, okay, that is the next high probability move. I'm not gonna always sort of trade against the grain. Are they jumping the gun here? I think so too. I don't think we have the signals just yet to tell us that, hey, we're going below $100,000. There are subtle signals like this. What was that? Right? Like the fractal system, like this rising channel that basically got exhausted even before it got up to the top of the channel. That was just $130,000. Couldn't even get there. So the subtle hints are telling me that, okay, we could drop lower, but it's not enough, right? So you always got to assess the weight that you want to give the subtle hints. You cannot give it too much of a weighting if it's more on intuition and fractals than proper price action that you're seeing on the chart. So okay, let's go over XRP now. XRP. Oh, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on? XRP. XRP's trends and vol is looking actually really good. Okay, 4-hour trend is long. Daily trend is also long. But what's really standing out here, it's not just the long trends, it's also the volatility profile. For blue volatility across the 4-hour to the daily time frame, which is actually really good. Because for the long signals, and the 4-hour and the daily, and the volatility at blue, it's telling me that if the bulls really want to step in here, they can, and they can take this up in a much bigger way. Okay, so essentially telling you that they have a lot more juice in them to take this up further. Okay, so XRP right here. We were looking at the monthly 10 simple moving average. For those of you wondering, wait, I have too many lines on my chart. I'm just going to get rid of some. We don't need this. We don't need this. Okay, XRP right here is what can I say, man? We closed over the monthly 10 simple moving average, which is really good. Okay, this is essentially what we wanted to see. What I don't like about the monthly 10, I mean, it's not confirmed, so I think that should be noted, is the downward slope on it. I don't like that. Okay, but if this price starts rallying from here, that could very well change getting to the end of the month. So I don't want to jump the gun on that. But right now we closed over the monthly 10, which is essentially what we're looking for this month. I'll say this though. While we did close over the monthly 10, tomorrow's weekly candle is going to close underneath the dynamic once again, okay, which I don't like. All right, which tells me that there is a chance that XRP might be coming down a tad bit more. But the dashboards tell me that I could be wrong about that. Let's go ahead. Lower time frames. How's the 12-hour looking? Okay, 12 hours is attempting to reclaim the 12-hour dynamic resistance. If we can do that, that would be good. Okay, if it can reclaim the 12-hour dynamic resistance, so for those of you who want the top of the zone, 254. If, say, tomorrow or in the next two 12-hour candles, we can close over 254, that would be a good point for the bulls, in which instance I'll be looking for prices to make another push up. Okay, all the way up to the top of the range at 264, which is good. Because at that point, we'd be looking at something pretty special here, right? Not broken out, but an attempt to break out. Inverted head and shoulders. Friedrich says XRP looks bullish to me. Yeah. On the lower time frames, and the dashboard is saying the same thing, eh? So it's weird. The monthly closed over the monthly 10, which is good, what we were looking for. Weekly is showing a bit of hesitance. Like, it's going to struggle. Like, you know, it looks like it's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. Yeah, that's XRP. If I really have to put it in a line, it's like rock and a hard place. It's like a really minute range, and depending on where we close relative to this range is going to give us the tip on, well, where do we see price going from here, right? So I think dropping below 250 could see a lower price target for XRP, but staying over that and just holding it as support as it is right now could start seeing a move to the upside. It's a really tight range, I'll say that. It's a really, really tight range. It's a 5% range, guys. Okay, it's a 5% range. XRP is stuck in a 5% range. And depending on where we close on that range, it's going to dictate where this takes price. I know people were like super, super duper upset at me, right? When I was talking about the monthly 10 simple moving average. Like, if we break, guys, there's a good chance that, you know, we drop even further. That has been a key point of contention between for the bulls and the bears through the cycles, because every time we've lost the monthly 10 on every single bull run this far, that's also marked bear market territory. This is one of those systems that also works on XRP as well as it works on Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, I would argue that it works better. But it's also something that's been really, really good for marking the turn in the XRP cycles from bull market to bear market. When I said that, people were so mad. They're like, no, you're missing the fundamentals and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I'm not here to get married to the coin. I'm not here to get married to my bags. Okay, I'm here to make freaking money. Right? And a part of making money, I hate it when people delude themselves into thinking that they got into an asset for the fundamentals and for the trajectory of the project, as opposed to making money. You entered the asset to make money. That was the initial goal, right? To then delude yourself into thinking that, no, I'm here for the fundamentals because now for prices just not going the way you thought it was going to go in the short term. It's a recipe for friggin' disaster, because ultimately, let's face it, even if you did, let's just say prices did go in your favor, okay? You're making money on the trade. What is the action that you take to actually make money? What's the action? There's an action. The action is a sell action, right? You sell to realize those gains, to realize your profit, right? How you end is very, very, very important. I don't care how deep in profits you are, or how deep, how not deep in losses. I hope nobody's in deep losses. But how you end your trade is also going to make sure that you never get into deep losses. Right? How you get out is very, very important. I'm not here to marry the bags. That's why every time I come out here and present any sort of asset to you, any altcoin, I'm always giving you both sides of the spectrum here, both sides of the trade. If this, then that. Right? If we lose, then it's over. People keep asking me on XRP, what happened to a $23 target? Well, it's here on my chart still. And if we start turning from here, if prices actually reclaim, we start breaking up, we start sort of taking out those previous highs, is $23 still on the book for me? Yeah, I'm not changing the target. All I'm saying is that there are cyclical levels that we have been looking at since since we broke out right here in freaking summer of last year. Those cyclical targets, those cyclical supports, I have not changed. I've not changed it on you guys, right? We've been following the weekly time frame, and I'm still on the weekly time frame. Nothing has changed in that regard. All right. So, and I've been very open and very honest. I've been very, very honest with you guys on that. Because like I said, I'm here to make money, man. I'm not here to please anyone. Ultimately, even I want to win, right? So don't marry your bags, guys. The amount of people I see they get so emotional. They get really emotional. They're like, I'm here for the fundamentals, the future of the project. That's all well and good, but I'm not going to freaking lose money for the future of the project. I don't give a shit. Okay, because the project doesn't freaking care about you. You know how many people were so engrossed with the future of the project and they rugged them? They were so invested in the project. They were following the team. They were following the Reddits. They were following this Discords. They were following every single group, everything from A to Z. Hell, they should have been a part of the friggin' team at this point. And you know what? The project doesn't care about you. Okay? You gotta know when it's time. A lot of those people, and much of altcoins, I'm not saying that this is true for XRP, I'm just saying altcoins in general. A lot of it is just vaporware, right? So you don't want to get married to these coins. Don't get married to your investments just because it's not going in your favor. Learn to lose well. James Francis says, unloaded all my losers a while. And I think, yeah, that's so important. And think of it, it's like a release valve almost, right? When you let go of your losers, you now have the clarity to think of the next trade, to think of your next opportunity, right? Unlike when you're sitting in your losers, you're not looking at the opportunity because you're too worried about the freaking bags that are losing freaking money right now. Think about it. Every time you've had a loser and you failed to cut it, when your TA told you, hey, it might be time to cut it, how did you feel? Were you looking at the various other opportunities around you? No. You were too worried about your freaking loser. You were getting up on a daily basis looking at your freaking loser, wondering, when is it going to stop losing? You don't have the mental clarity. And part of being a good trader is also having that mental clarity, okay, to put on the next trade. But you can only do that if you're safe on everything else. So learn to lose well, guys, please. 3 Digless says XRP is a winner, though. Yeah, I mean, it's been a winner for us. We've been riding freaking XRP since 64 cents. Even if I get out here, I'm getting out in freaking profits, right? But I don't intend on giving back my profits after it loses the systems. Is it still in safe zone right now? Monthly is, weekly not so much. I'm looking at the weekly dynamic. Bi-weekly dynamic is still holding. This is the level that Sean is looking at, by the way. For those of you who want the updated levels on this, go ahead and take note of it. Comes in from 232 down to 221. Also, XRP on the dashboard is literally telling us that we have a change in momentum on the lower time frames. This is long with very healthy volatility, so don't fade the dashboard. Okay, let's also quickly go over HBAR. I noticed one of the comments on the Discord on the YouTube comments asked for HBAR, and this is one of the coins that I had been covering, and I said that, hey, you know what? I'm going to cover it on the live stream. So this is for that guy. I am reading your comments, by the way. So for those of you who chime in on the comments, it's much appreciated. But I am reading all of your comments. So for the ones that I miss replying to, just a heads up, I'm noticing everybody. Okay, 4-hour neutral. There's a turn here. You can see the altcoins are going through a bit of a turn. 4-hour neutral, 12-hour long, daily long. We might see a bit more of a rally, a bit more juice on the higher time frames, but that juice might lead. So we could see a move to the upside on your 12-hour time frame, but only for it to hit resistance on the daily, because owing to the volatility at 78 and 71. So that's definitely something to watch out for. But let's go ahead, HBAR. It's not bad. It's holding the monthly level. I say HBAR, keep this simple, man. You see the monthly time frames, they're trying to hold structure minus the liquidation event right there. HBAR levels coming from around 19 cents down to 16 cents. If we can hold this, then we could start seeing a resurrection, right? How about this? If prices hold this and Bitcoin continues its rally, it still stays within its bull run supports, we could see a resurrection of this coin. However, there are some coins like, someone asked me to look at some rubbish coin. My goodness, was it BLZ? Oh man, that was like so bad. What a terrible chart. I'm like, get the hell out of here. That's so bad. But like that chart, I don't see a resurrection on, but a chart like this, I would see a resurrection on, right? But yeah, keep HBAR relatively simple. You're looking at, for as long as we're in the bull run, we're looking at 19 cents down to 17 cents as that support. If we can hold this, there's a chance for resurrection. I have Bitcoin in the title, XRP in the title. I have ADA in my thumbnail. Notice what I'm doing, guys? I'm like, which coin did they ask me to cover? Okay, I look at weekly. Honestly, cut down and just keep it simple, man. Weekly supports, weekly resistances right now for us, which comes in right here. 75 down to 70. 75 down to 70. That is your resistance point for as long as we're living underneath that. XRP, Cardano, sorry, is still in bearish territory. Oh, man, this is not looking good. Lost the monthly dynamic too. This is likely coming down. Coming back down to 50 cents. For ADA. There's been no respite. This looks like a breakdown of a bear flag. In case you haven't noticed. This right here is your bear flag. Okay, this is the flag. Breakdown. Break right here. Bottom of the range is your target, 43 cents. So 50 cents to 43 cents. 3 diglets in the AVAX. Absolutely. So currently AVAX is on support owing to these closes. So basically this candle right here, these right here. So we are currently on support, but I'll say that even in lower time frames, like if let's just say the weekly, right? 3 diglets, if we start closing underneath $17, confirm closes underneath $17. So this is your range. Actually, let's draw out a range. It's a thick range, but Start closing underneath this range between 17 and 15, I believe. 1550. We're breaking structure in a bigger way. All right, at which point we could start seeing a breakdown. So first stop $12 and then maybe a breakdown of the entire pattern, which is not what we want to see. But right now, AVAX is on support. Understand this, guys. When it comes to your the charts that you're playing right now, there is opportunity, okay? But these are not trend opportunities right now. What you are in is currently these ranges, these really, really profitable swings. Even AVAX for that matter, right? We broke down right here. Like this was a great 35% swing. You can literally play these swings. Even XRP, I believe XRP had an 80% swing on its entire range. But these are very profitable swings to just like trade, support and resistance, right? I go over this in the sprouts. I haven't updated this page, but like we got modules 1 to 9 that's out. I got to change all of this, but I go over some pretty good strategies in how to play support and resistances, right? So it's a thick module, but go over it because it's going to help you understand when I have like this entire thing of appraising support and resistance. It gives you an idea of, you know, which ones can be profitable ones and which ones are likely to break versus likely to hold. Okay, because the ones that are likely to hold will give you another shot at the range, at the swing, right? So it's about understanding that. So go ahead and check it out. But yeah, modules 1, 7, 8, 9, they're all out. This one's on risk management. So for those of you who are struggling with the risk management, go over it. I've noticed that the watch time on that is low, but then I try to figure out, I'm like, did I make an announcement? I'm not sure if I made the announcement. So I got to make a new announcement on that module. Okay, but yeah, that is out with the chart patterns and everything. So go ahead and check it out. But yeah, support and resistance is going to essentially help you understand which ones are really worth playing versus which ones are likely going to start breaking out, right? Start sort of reclaiming either regions of support or resistance. But yeah, these can be understand when it's a swing trade and when it's a trend trade. And I don't think many of the altcoins right now are in their trend phases, right? But they're all in very, very profitable swing phases right now, right? So play the swings, because if this support holds, okay, let's just say you take it at the support, right? Easy one to manage in case it breaks, and then ride it up to the top of the range. That's a good 63% just on that range alone, right? So yeah, I don't think I did either. I gotta announce it. So I'll announce it after this. Let's go. Dash is on fire. You remember Dash, Sean? Was it remember the 2017 cycle? Like, I think Dash was one of those coins. I kid you not, okay? I'm not freaking making this shit up. Dash was one of those coins. This is Binance, but back then in 2017, there were only 2 exchanges. There was Polo and there was it, what was it called? Bittrex? Binance and all were not there. Binance came out like late cycle. So 1 month before the bear, like 2-3 months before the bear market started. But yeah, it was Polo and Bittrex. Bittrex is no more. But Dash was one of those coins that, I kid you not, were doing 600%. Think about this. 600% per day. 600% per day for like 4 or 5 days straight. You used to get up and it was like one of the top ones on the list. People got so spoiled during that entire phase because, you know, even if you get like a 5x, they're like, chump change. It was like nothing burgers. It's like, yeah, well, that should be expected. If you're not getting 5x, what are you doing? That was like a blip. Dash was on freaking fire, but what's happening here? Do you guys know? Let's check it out. Dashboard. Start using the dashboard, guys. It's gonna, like, think about it, right? What happened with me and XRP just now? I'm like, oh, I'm bearish XRP, but the dashboard is literally telling me, Krisha, you're missing something. Look at the lower time frames. Right? When I look at the lower time frames, XRP is up to something a lot more interesting there that is telling me that we could start seeing a rally on the lower time frames. So start using the dashboard to also help you check your biases in case you're looking too much at a certain play that you forget to go a bit more granular to figure out what's going on lower time frames that you might be missing. All right, so don't fade the dashboard because it's been helping a lot of people catch some amazing trades. Right now, dash on the dashboards, longs across the board, and think about it, like it's literally giving you the trends, right? Like hell, 1 month ago it flipped long, okay, on the daily time frame. You're up 161% if you manage to catch this, which then drew you to the chart and help you identify an opportunity. Ultimately, you want to see cohesion and everything, right? You want to see confluence there. So daily, flip long 30 days ago, you're up 161%. Now volatility is screaming like super duper red, right? Telling us that, okay, if there's any point that you might see resistance, it might be now. But it's saying that look for resistance, all right? Question is there resistance here, right? Now we know, wow, I plotted these lines a very long time ago, clearly. Resistance is right here on Dash, 93 cents. $93 is resistance, but it was resistance. It broke in April 2022. April 2022. I have a question for you. If you bought in April 2022, prices went down and down and down, and you were like, oh, F you, Dash. Screw you, Dash. Would you still be in a trade after all of this time? Would you still be in, or would you have sold? Would you have just thrown in the towel? What would you guys have done? Would you throw in the towel, or would you have waited and held? Tell me right now in the chat. If you had bought Dash thinking that would hold support in April 2022, but instead prices just dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped and never really gave you a retest, never let you get out in break even. All right. Fast forward to November 2025. Would you still be holding, or would you have sold? Because that's going to tell us exactly how many people are going to come in here to sell. James Francis says, why did it dump? Bad news hack or what? Bear market, man. Bear market has a way to get in on every asset. The bear market will cause it to dump. People will start selling. You need to understand that the bull market only started in Jan of 2023, right? So that entire 2022 phase was just bear market. Yeah, let's just say it broke, right? You were playing the trade. You basically bought at support, thinking that it would bounce at support. That was strong support, right? The last time we were here, it pumped right here. The last time it came down right here, it pumped another, what was this? For 51%, you want to play the swing, but instead, hey, there was no swing. You bought, but you didn't sell. You're like, no, it's gonna pump. I'm gonna get a break even. And instead, it just dumped and dumped and dumped. Would you have sold after all this time? Would you have just thrown in the towel and be like, this is a shit coin? I'm not staying in here anymore. Take whatever I can salvage from this and just put into something else? What would you do? Yeah. James says I would be out if I just bought, like you said. Exactly. And I think even I would have done the same. I'd just throw in the towel. I'm like, this is too much opportunity cost. Freaking Bitcoin rallied in my face from $15,000 all the way up to $20,000. And this shit coin did nothing, right? This for me was opportunity cost. And I'd hate to be an opportunity cost in the middle of what appears to be a bull market. So personally, I would have sold, right? I think the overhang, which is why I think the overhang on this level right here could have dwindled out. If there was any overhang whatsoever, essentially people who bought here, right, who failed to sell on time, I think they must have sold all the way on this range right here, which is why I think there's little overhang. Could this break? Yeah. It could. There's a case for it breaking right here. What we need to understand is that this is still, it's going to be minor resistance, whatever this is, at $93. And also this is the measured move. $93 is the measured move of that minor double bottom formation. So everything pointing to a potential region of resistance. So what we could end up seeing here is, how about this? If prices closes over $93, getting, say, tomorrow, right, on the week, we could see this rally once more, back up to all the way up to 138. If, however, we close under, we could see a minor rejection owing to another leg down, perhaps another higher low on Dash. But yeah, if we close over $93, we could go up once more. Have a good workout, James. The gym is very important. I hope you guys are keeping healthy. Very, very important. Keep the blood flowing. But yeah, I think I'm gonna three Douglas, why are you scared? Don't be scared. Okay, I'm saying, okay, guys, I'm gonna give you all this, the thesis, because I want you guys to be prepared. Okay, part of freaking winning in this game is just being prepared for the various outcomes, but also knowing when the probability of those outcomes go up. Right now, the bearish probability is not, so if I had to weigh bullish and bearish, I'm saying the bulls still have the edge in terms of the winning probability. Okay, for as long as we're in the bull market for Bitcoin, that's good. Bitcoin can still go higher, right? If you're on the altcoins, however, okay, understand the various aspects of your trade, the if this, then that's of your trade. Now, AVAX, for that matter, 3 Diglets, you are, okay, sounds like TikTok. AVAX is currently on support. Okay, AVAX is on support. Let's even go here. With the 4-hour just flip long with really healthy volatility at 18, right? So you have a 4-hour flip on long, okay? AVAX is still on this entire, it's getting down to that region of support, right? So you don't want to fade that either, okay? If there's any time you could see a bounce, it could be right here, all right? But if you're looking for the bear, if things turn bearish, you at the very least know what to look out for, right? That way you're not giving too much more back to the market. All right, so I want you guys to be prepared for all of the various outcomes that could take place in whatever you're holding right now. And also, more importantly, what trade setup you ought to be looking for. Now, personally, I'm looking at various charts, altcoins especially. I'm not looking for the trend trade because I know it's going to take a lot more for them to even begin their trend trades. There are a lot of great swing plays that you can make a lot of money out of. All right, XRP still within an 80% range. AVAX right here, like I said, if it bounces, the next target is only a back up to 26, which is good, 56% on that range alone. All right, so there's a lot of money still there to be made on the table. As far as cyclical probability is concerned, the bulls still have the edge. We're holding all cyclical supports. Don't go jumping the gun before you get the signals, before you get the triggers. Okay, very important. I'm going to point out where the weakness is at. But just because there's weakness doesn't mean the bulls cannot step in and take this up because, like I said, all cyclicals are still intact. Okay, I think we can wrap up here. For the rest of the altcoins like the XLMs and the Solanas and yeah, those coins, the Ethereums, the Ethers, the ETH. We'll cover that in the next update, in the next live stream. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you did, please make sure to hit the likes. And if you're not already sub to the channel, sub to the channel. I'm trying to get up to 100,000 subs, guys. Okay, it's been like there. It's like I want to just keep up with Bitcoin at this point. So so just get me there, get us there. get Mango there. And yeah, hit the likes and join the Discord chat if you're not already in. It's at themangoway.com/Discord. You're going to find a link to it in the description below. Dashboard too, you're going to find a link to that as well as the Sprouts program. So go ahead and check everything out. I will now see you in there. I hope you have an excellent, excellent weekend. And yeah, a great start to your next week. With this, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the Mango way, trade the easy way. Ciao, you guys. Whoops.